The searing bullet rips through flesh and bone. Blood cascades down his face in hot streams. Vision disappears in an instant. His left side goes completely dead. No feeling, no movement, nothing. The cockpit becomes a twisted nightmare of shattered glass and mangled steel. Far below stretches the Pacific Ocean, blue and endless and waiting. For most men, this moment would mark the end, a final plunge toward certain death. Perhaps a desperate kamikaze dive as the last act. But Petty Officer First Class Saburo Sakai refused to accept death. Not today. Not like this. Blinded in one eye and partially crippled, with most of his flight instruments destroyed, this remarkable man would pilot his crippled Zero fighter across nearly 5 grueling hours, over 1,000 kilometers of open ocean, all to reach home alive. This isn't Hollywood fiction. This is the breathtaking true account of Saburo Sakai's impossible journey, a testament to human willpower that shatters every expectation of what the body and spirit can endure. Understanding this incredible feat requires knowing the man himself. Sources disagree on whether August 25 or 26, 1916, marked his birth in Saga on Kyushu Island. But his heritage left no doubt about his character. Ancient samurai blood flowed through his veins, warriors whose Bushido code had molded Japanese society for generations. Though poverty had claimed his family's fortune, those core samurai values remained carved deep into his soul. Duty above self. Discipline without question. Loyalty beyond death. School held little appeal for young Sakai, but military service called to something fundamental within him. At just 16, he joined the Imperial Japanese Navy. The training bordered on savage brutality. Yet this iron discipline hammered his natural resilience into something extraordinary. His true destiny emerged in 1937. From 1,500 hopeful candidates, only 70 gained admission to the elite Navy pilot training program. Of those, merely 25 survived to graduation. Sakai finished at the top of his class. His connection with aircraft went beyond mere skill. The Mitsubishi A6M0 became like his own limbs. This legendary fighter combined remarkable lightness with incredible maneuverability. Its range surpassed anything else in the sky. Under Sakai's control, it transformed into a weapon of devastating precision. Combat experience came early over Chinese skies before Pearl Harbor, but the Pacific War truly forged his legend. December 8, 1941 brought his first taste of American opposition. Hours after the Pearl Harbor strike, he joined the assault on Clark Air Base in the Philippines. His guns found their first American target. A Curtiss P-40 tumbled from the sky in flames. This marked just the beginning. Malaysia fell to his guns. The Dutch East Indies witnessed his deadly precision. New Guinea skies knew his presence. Victory after victory accumulated as Sakai established himself among the Imperial Navy's deadliest aces. The numbers tell a fascinating story. Official Japanese records credit him with 28 confirmed kills. But his own autobiography, Samurai, speaks of over 60 enemy aircraft destroyed. Western sources tend to support these higher figures. His reputation extended far beyond mere kill counts. Fellow pilots knew him for an unbreakable rule. Never had he lost a wingman in combat. Not once. His eyesight bordered on supernatural. His ability to read developing battles seemed almost mystical. He embodied the modern warrior spirit, a samurai wielding 20th-century technology with deadly effect. This was the man who on August 7, 1942, found himself leading a fighter formation toward what would become a hellish battleground. Guadalcanal awaited. The Tainan Kokutai Air Group had relocated to Rabaul Base on August 3, 1942. 4 days later, shocking news arrived. American Marines had established beachheads on Guadalcanal Island. Strategic importance made this island absolutely vital. The enemy had to be driven back at any cost. For Sakai and his squadron, the mission bordered on suicide. The round trip from Rabaul to Guadalcanal stretched over 1,800 kilometers. This pushed zero range to absolute limits. Combat time over target would last perhaps 15 to 20 minutes maximum. That morning brought Sakai tremendous excitement. Finally, he would face America's legendary carrier pilots in direct combat. Guadalcanal's skies presented a chaotic swarm of aircraft. Planes twisted and dove in every direction. With veteran coolness, Sakai plunged straight into the melee. His first target appeared quickly. An F-4F Wildcat fighter fell to his guns. The pilot was James "Pug" Sutherland, an experienced ace. Sakai believed he had killed the American. Actually, Sutherland managed to bail out safely, but the action continued without pause. Soon, 8 distant aircraft caught Sakai's attention. Their silhouettes suggested Wildcat fighters. He prepared for his specialty, the surprise attack from behind and below. His approach followed perfect technique. The enemy's blind spot concealed his presence completely, then he moved closer to fire. This moment nearly ended everything. Those weren't fighters at all. They were SBD Dauntless dive bombers. Unlike single-seat fighters, these aircraft carried rear gunners. Trained men with machine guns pointed backward. As Sakai closed for the kill, 16 machine gun barrels swung toward him. Concentrated fire erupted from every bomber simultaneously. His world exploded in an instant. Bullets shredded his Zero's fuselage. The canopy disintegrated into flying glass fragments. 130 caliber round found its mark with devastating precision. His head. The impact felt like a blacksmith's hammer crushing his skull. Sakai described the sensation as total and instantaneous. Blinding pain. Complete darkness. The fighter spun wildly out of control toward the waiting ocean. Unconsciousness claimed him for precious seconds. Each moment brought him closer to certain death. The freezing wind howling through his destroyed cockpit became his salvation. Icy air shocked him back to partial awareness. He tried opening his eyes. Nothing but darkness greeted him. Blood poured from his head wound in steady streams. It covered his face completely, blinded him utterly. Pure panic seized his mind, blind, in a diving aircraft, spinning toward the sea, out of control completely. Superhuman effort let him remove his goggles. He wiped desperately at his face. Vision returned partially. What he saw brought fresh horror. His right eye was gone, destroyed completely. The left eye barely functioned. Blood continued flowing steadily. Then came the second discovery. His left side felt nothing, no sensation at all. His arm hung uselessly. His leg remained motionless. Half his body had simply stopped responding to his will. A broken man in a broken aircraft. But warrior instincts buried deep in his samurai heritage suddenly took control. Using only his right arm, he fought the aircraft's controls. The Zero was diving straight down toward the Pacific. Water rushed up to meet him with terrifying speed. Meter by meter, he pulled back on the stick. The aircraft gradually responded. Just hundreds of meters above the ocean's surface, he finally leveled out. For the moment, he had cheated death. But his situation remained absolutely desperate. Nearly 1,000 kilometers separated him from safety. His body was failing. His aircraft was crippled. Several options presented themselves. All of them terrible. He could attempt the long flight home. Almost certainly this meant slow death from blood loss and exhaustion. Or he could follow Bushido tradition. Find an enemy ship and crash into it. Die gloriously for the Emperor. As he contemplated this honorable end, other thoughts intruded. Images of his family appeared in his mind. His mother's face, his fellow pilots back at base. None of them would expect him to attempt the impossible journey home. Logic demanded surrender to death. His training reinforced this expectation. But in that crucial moment, Sakai made a different choice entirely. He rejected death completely. The impossible journey would be attempted. Thus began aviation history's most incredible survival flight. 4 hours and 47 minutes of continuous agony. Over 1,000 kilometers of open ocean with a dying man at the controls. Pain became his first and constant enemy. The head wound sent waves of searing agony through his skull. To maintain consciousness, he developed a brutal technique. Repeatedly, he touched the open wound. Each contact brought fresh waves of sharp pain. These sensations fought off the dangerous numbness threatening to claim him. His paralyzed body presented the second major obstacle. Controlling the aircraft with only his right side required enormous concentration. Right arm for the control stick, right leg for the rudder pedals. Every movement demanded tremendous effort. Blood loss continued steadily. He felt his strength draining away with each passing minute. The aircraft itself became his third enemy. Wind howled through the missing canopy. The noise was deafening. The cold was brutal. Most instruments lay shattered and useless. No compass provided direction. No radio offered contact with base. Navigation depended entirely on instinct. Thousands of flight hours had given him an almost supernatural understanding of Pacific wind patterns and ocean currents. The sun's position guided him. Cloud formations provided clues. Pure intuition filled the gaps. A desperate gamble against impossible odds. Time crawled with excruciating slowness. Sakai's universe contracted to basic elements: engine noise, howling wind, constant pain, endless blue water stretching in every direction. The loneliness was absolutely complete. To fight despair, he turned to memories. Childhood scenes played in his mind: his mother's gentle face, fellow pilots sharing stories and laughter. These precious thoughts became fuel for his weakening will. At some point, he realized fuel supplies must be nearly exhausted. He had been airborne far longer than the Zero's normal range allowed. Every additional minute in the air defied probability, yet somehow the engine continued running. This was no longer about flying skill. This had become pure willpower made manifest. Man against machine, man against ocean, man against his own failing body. After more than 4 grinding hours, hope seemed completely lost. Then through his damaged left eye, he glimpsed something on the distant horizon. A dark speck. Was this hallucination? A cruel trick of his wounded mind? The speck grew larger as he approached. It wasn't imagination, it was land. It was Rabaul base. Relief nearly overwhelmed his remaining strength. But the ordeal wasn't finished yet. Landing required precision, coordination, perfect vision. Sakai possessed none of these things anymore. Multiple passes over the airfield followed. He couldn't clearly distinguish the runway through his damaged eyesight. Ground crews watching his bullet-riddled Zero flying so erratically understood immediately. Their pilot was in serious trouble. Landing gear deployment became another prayer answered. Would the damaged mechanism still function? With one final titanium effort, he aligned the fighter with the runway. His descent began. The landing became miraculous. The aircraft bounced hard, skidded sideways, but remained intact. He managed to taxi to a complete stop. Rescue crews reached the cockpit to find a horrific scene. Sakai slumped unconscious over his instruments. Blood covered everything. He was barely recognizable. Somehow consciousness remained. Barely. He managed to report mission status to his commanding officer. Then complete collapse claimed him. Surgery followed without anesthesia. His right eye was lost forever, but incredibly he survived. His story immediately became legend throughout the Imperial Navy. For Sakai, the war continued. After months of painful recovery, he insisted on returning to flight duty despite medical advice. First as an instructor, but that wasn't enough for his warrior spirit. He demanded return to combat operations. Amazingly, he managed additional enemy kills even with his damaged vision. He flew missions until the very end, even after Emperor Hirohito announced surrender. War's end brought profound personal transformation. Sakai embraced Buddhism completely. He vowed never again to kill any living creature, not even a mosquito. Peace became his new mission. He believed deeply that Japan and America needed mutual understanding. His own daughter was sent to study in the United States. Former enemies became respected friends. Many American pilots he had fought met with him personally. Relationships of mutual respect and genuine friendship developed. His autobiography, Samurai, achieved international bestseller status. The world learned his extraordinary story. Saburo Sakai died September 22, 2000 at age 84. His final public appearance was as honored guest at an American naval base dinner. His life embodied human contradiction. Deadly warrior transformed into man of peace. National hero who discovered humility through defeat. But above everything else, that impossible flight from Guadalcanal remains among history's purest demonstrations of human resilience. When the body breaks and hope disappears, the human spirit reveals almost unlimited capacity for survival. Against astronomical odds, against every reasonable expectation, Saburo Sakai's story transcends war narrative. It teaches universal lessons about willpower's ultimate triumph. Other incredible survival stories exist. Forgotten heroes wait for discovery. Share them below. We constantly seek extraordinary tales of human courage. If this story moved you, subscribe to our channel. Hit the notification bell. Don't miss future stories of remarkable people who conquered impossible challenges.